So I have a procedure. What does this represent? We're going to put this under the system realm. We're going to apply this realm class family type. And I'll talk about this for a little bit, um, just so it really makes sense. 99% of our objects are going to have a realm class family type. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. I'll get better at drawing. This is a brand new pen. There we go. So we have the realm class family type. This has a realm ID. This has a family ID. This has a damn it. This has a family ID. This has a class ID. So this is our relationship. These are very generic. These are very specific. Very common subject to talk about is language, how we communicate. So we can use a realm to call it a spoken language or a written one. We have a class that could mean, actually let's say the class is spoken. Because this is where all my work takes place now, is I'm just figuring out how to classify data. I no longer have to figure out what column goes in what, or how do I build this object, because they're all part of a pattern. We say this is active, or a dead language, or whatever. Is it spoken? Is it written? Is it manufactured? What family is it? Is it Germanic? The type is English. Type is German. So we have the structure of generic realms to specific types. And each of these structures have this additional table. This additional table being the base table, where the base table has a type ID, and it is the actual data that we're storing. So given this language structure, now we can store our codes. And in our application, we have these choices. We could say, well, does this person belong to English? Or is this person ENUS? Does this person speak Germanic languages, spoken or written? So we have this type of classification that allows us to expand however we need without modifying the table itself. It's just data. So really, it doesn't go against this normal form idea of redundant data. It's not redundant data. We're looking at the entire chain. This is a record, not this. And I think too many people focused on, you know, uh, yeah, too many people focused on this being what to normalize, that it really, you know, it got us to where we are right now. We're in a position where in our industry, everything is different. If I go to a different location, different contract, they model the same data, yet they model it differently. So Our industry's only been is a pretty new industry. It's been alive for like 50 years, since the 70s, I believe. Maybe, we can talk about before then, but really it's cod, voice and cod that uh, got us really where we are today. But all the normalization focuses on that record. What are the transitive properties to the key? And that is not the case. It's this idea, this concept. And this is the concept, language. It's the subject. We are thinking about the subject. There are different slices. You know, think about food, where we have meat, maybe um, what animal it comes from. And I should not use that. What animal it comes from, and what part of the animal does it come from? And then maybe skinless, boneless, skinless and boneless. So we really have to think of this entire chain as our unique item versus redundancy on a specific table, because this is irrelevant now. It is this huge chain. I want to be able to have Ian US in here 3 times, for spoken, for written, for gesture, for sign language. So, in order to support ENUS as sign language, all I had to do was add one record to the class, family, type, and base table. No modifying any objects, nothing. And that is the primary focus of the system, is the classification. So when we look at this classification system, we're going to apply this classification to our naming conventions